Did you know that organic traffic converts higher than paid traffic? Now, organic traffic, though, takes quite some time to build up, to generate, and you have to implement SEO processes every single time that you publish content to your site, and you have to do that consistently. You have to publish content to your site consistently, and you have to implement SEO into your business consistently in order to see growth with organic traffic. Well, in this episode, I've got an expert in SEO, and he is going to go over how you can implement some very specific but very easy actionable tips to get gains with your SEO in your e-commerce business. So you're going to love this episode. Let's jump in. Are you ready to transform your normal e-commerce business into one that experiences exponential growth year after year using online advertising? If so, this show is for you. Me and my guests will show you how you too can grow your e-commerce business to 7 or even 8 figures so you can go on more luxurious vacations, spoil yourself and your family, say yes to more opportunities, and become financially free so you never have to worry about money again. Welcome to the E-commerce Performance Marketing Show. Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to the E-com Performance Marketing Show. And I've got a guy here that is going to be super valuable for you. I've got John Vuong here. So John is one of the world's leading experts on SEO. SEO still matters. It's a big part of every single e-commerce business. And the more organic traffic you can get, the easier it is for your business to be able to get sales and grow. That's why I wanted to have John on the show here, because I knew that John would be a great expert to be on the show. So this way he can really talk about SEO today and what you can do in your e-commerce business to be able to rank more effectively on all the different search engines, especially Google. John joins us from Toronto. As you can see from the background, he's a huge Raptors fan. He just went ecstatic when the Raptors won 2 years ago. We were just talking about it. And he's just a great guy. I'm just excited to have him here on the show. I know you guys are going to love him. So John, welcome to the Econ Performance Marketing Show.
Well, thanks for the intro, Josh. I'm ecstatic to be on your show and delighted to share some insights about, to your audience members on how to really perform well in terms of digital presence using SEO.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I just know how much of an impact SEO can have when you really commit to it. And I know that it takes a commitment, it takes time, but you know, a lot of e-commerce businesses are always resistant to that because they want to see results right away. But before we dive into that, I just want the audience to get to know you. So can you tell the audience a little bit about your background, how you got started, and what led to where you're at today in business?
Yeah, definitely. So the business itself started 8 years ago. I started an agency called Local SEO Search. But prior to that, I was doing advertising sales for 10 years. And I dabbled in traditional advertising, you know, newspapers, flyers, directories. I actually then dabbled into online performance, affiliates, cost per impression, cost per sale, cost per acquisition. And then I worked at a directory, and I'm sure some of your audience members may know and remember Yellow Pages. I was there for 5 years. And that's where I really enjoyed meeting real, true business owners, community leaders, neighbors, people that put their heart and soul into every single day in their lives to support a local cause, a community, adding value, and understood what business, entrepreneurship, lifestyle, everything meant. And it resonated with me. Like, I met with probably over 5,000 business owners at that time. And what I truly wanted to do moving forward for the rest of my life was really help people that were good humans, great people that maybe they weren't, you know, born here in Canada, but they immigrated from different parts of the world, but spent 16-hour days living and helping the communities have a better sense of what, you know, good food, good services meant to them, right?
Yeah,
so that's why I
nice.
started why I did, because there was a gap in the marketplace. As you know, users shifted in terms of behavior. People were not getting good ROI in terms of ads on print directories, and I wanted to be the solution. So they wanted someone they can trust to actually do good work, and they wanted someone to actually like be there for the long term. So I wanted to be the person for them.
Yeah, that's great. That's incredible. And you know, I always love hearing, you know, stories of people that have, immigrated, to whether it's the United States, whether it's Canada, and have really like been successful because they've hustled, they've worked their butt off. And it's just incredible to, hear that you've done the same, because I know you're from Vietnam, right?
Yeah. So backstory, my mom came and had me like 2 weeks later, once she arrived here. But they left the
Wow.
Vietnam War, so I'm the fourth of four children, and
Okay.
they liquidated all their assets. So imagine being a perspective of going to war. Like parents were a family-run business, sold everything because everyone's taking everything from them anyways.
Yeah.
Changed it to gold because that was the only way to escape the war,
Yep.
and came to a country not knowing the language, not knowing anyone, with $0 in the bank account, and starting life all over just for the next generation. So that's what
Right.
my parents did,
Wow.
right? The
Yeah.
perspective is growing up, for me, I didn't know better. And I was like, this is how I lived. I had food, I had shelter, but we, just like any new immigrant, we had food shelters. We had to shop at Salvation Army. We tried to get support, and we were struggling. Like we were living paycheck to paycheck, and we just wanted to make sure we had bare minimums to have food every night on the table. We had
Mm-hmm.
clothes. We had one toy shared amongst four children, right? Just gives you a
Yeah.
perspective. And my travel was, we had this one festival. So we lived an hour outside of Toronto. We went to it's like a carnival. It's called Canadian National Exhibition. We got free tickets once a year because my parents were, at the lower end of things in terms of work-wise, and we got these free passes. And I look forward to it every year just to go away. And that's why I felt like that's my travel, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we didn't fly. We didn't even go to a friend's house for any sleepover, birthday, nothing like that. So
Yeah.
for me, that's what I remembered. And it was good. Like that's great memories. But now as I mature and I've grown and I'm able to travel now, I have a world perspective, and I enjoy different contexts in terms of like how people live, going through what challenges people go through.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yep.
so grateful and fortunate to be living in the Western society to have abundance of choice.
Totally. Yeah, and all of us are. I mean, I'm glad you're speaking to this too, because we're all so fortunate, to be where we're at today. I mean, with e-commerce especially, I mean, 2020, was rough for a lot of different people. And I know that not all e-commerce businesses were safe during what happened last year in 2020. But we're all just very fortunate, very blessed, to do what we do in e-commerce and online business, and to be able to really create a substantial income for ourselves. I mean, we all have really the opportunity to truly retire early and leave a legacy for our kids and our children by being in e-commerce. I truly believe that. That's why, right now, like I'm super focused on scaling up brands and selling them within 12 to 24 months, whether it's brands that I own with my partners or brands that I partner up with, that come on board with us, and we sell them in 12 to 24 months on average, because it's just there's so much opportunity right now. And I love how you're highlighting how much opportunity there is for anybody that's watching or listening to this. So what do you do right now? Like I know you've got local SEO search, and it's one of the leading SEO providers in the world, and you're based out of Toronto. Can you tell us a little bit more about your company and what you guys do?
Yeah, for us, we really just take care of people, like real business owners that
Yep.
like acknowledge the problem, which is becoming thought leaders. So we help position them to more the long-term strategy that they want to still be in business for 5, 10, 20 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it takes time, a lot of time and effort to build that momentum. But they're honest, hardworking people that I want to support and want to help transpire to make them become leaders.
Mm-hmm.
People that are in it for the short term, I tell people go ads, just what your focus is in terms of growth, because of what they want to do. In terms of the outcome, they want to exit or they want to increase their growth stage and accelerate really quickly. There's different ways to do that. But with SEO, if you're in it for more the longer term, it's the greatest strategy. If you want a combination of that, I think that's always a great media mix, because just like while working at Yellow Pages, not only one directory will give you all the leads, because you don't know what people are consuming, how they're consuming, when they're consuming, and you want to hit them with as many different avenues, that it be funnels, email, ads, search, videos, images, podcast. There's so many different channels out there. You just have to hit them at the time of when they're ready, and you don't know what stages they're at either. So understanding it all would give you a better, good perspective in terms of your business and how to cultivate leads.
Yeah, nice. I hear you. So what's been your biggest e-com, success to date, in your agency?
Yeah, for us, it's just scaling, right? Like helping people understand, acknowledge their why, the purpose. And then there's SKUs, right? Product SKUs, e-coms, they have to acknowledge what do they want to position themselves as a brand first. Then you work backwards, because a lot of people are just going after quick wins, right? Products, listings, SKUs with different, it could be, and you look at Amazon, you look at these big, huge retailers. Yes, they can do that because they have tons of users, tons of people coming to their site daily, right? The challenge with you as an outsider that doesn't want to pay that 20%, 30% margin to Amazon is you have to cultivate the traffic somehow, right? So do you leverage on affiliates? Do you do email list blasts? What is your play? SEO is another medium choice, right? And you have to understand there's a ton of people searching on Google as a medium. How are they searching to derive the SKU or the brand or the product that you want to play? And what is the journey like? Because it takes longer to build your trust score, right? Your authority score. So I've seen clients grow, right? Like $500,000 in revenue to like 20 million, right? But it's not just one channel. It's a media mix. They have a lot of paid. They have a lot of, landing pages and a lot of testing, funnels, you name it. It's not just one. So I work with a lot of agencies as well, right? Like that do a lot of performance and paid and email. And
totally.
It's fun. I just want to help real business owners get good, real success.
Let's unpack that for a little bit. So you said something that really piqued my interest. So you said, like, first and foremost, the companies you work with really have to know what their brand stands for, right? Can you unpack that a little bit and inform the audience and myself even what that means and how that relates to how they are getting SEO done for their business?
So I always feel I ask real questions all the time during the intake to see if it's a good match, right? What are your values like? What's your real why? Where do you see yourself? What's your legacy look like? What do you want out of it? It's not just metrics and growth and revenue, right? Outside of that, I ask personal questions as well as like company questions. Like, what do you want out of this company? Why are you building it? Who's it for? What's the personas? What is the avatar? All these come into like the whole perspective of how am I going to map out a strategy to really help them achieve or get closer to that ideal target of them. There's not just one question, but it's like a multitude of them. Makes sense.
Yeah, because when I heard that, what I was thinking is, okay, so I think that what you're speaking to is when you're helping a brand, be able to rank for SEO, you want to help them be able to carve out their own niche, basically, based on their brand, right? Based on their position, based on their unique hook, their unique big idea that separates them from other similar brands in the space. And I would think, not being an SEO expert like you, I would think that really parlays into really figuring out what terms are going to be super unique to each of those clients that relates to their brand and relates to the very unique niche specific position that you're going to help them take in the market. Is that right?
Yes, so definitely the niche, but I would even talk about like the avatar. Every single question that revolves around every single journey that goes through the entire buying cycle and stage.
Got it.
And therefore, there's so many queries and keywords and searches and variations and semantics that it's so difficult to then position yourself as that pillar content, pillar niche and brand. So we always look at it like, give us the big, perfect, ideal customer. Then
Yep.
let's work backward and try to recreate what's going on in each of these stages of that life
Yep.
cycle.
I like it. Yeah, nice. That's awesome. So it sounds like, when you're first working with the client, you find out what their avatar is that they're really targeting, and then you think about what questions that avatar is going to ask, all the way from the awareness stage to becoming engaged with the brand, to converting into a lead, to considering becoming a customer, to being a repeat customer even. And you consider what questions they're going to ask throughout that entire process, it sounds like. Is that right? So this way you can now help your clients create content around those questions, and you can rank that content with search engines. Does that sound about right?
Exactly. And most of
Perfect.
these
Nice.
business owners or entrepreneurs don't even understand marketing
Right.
properly.
True.
And what we're trying to do as experts is not just educate, but the challenge with SEO is it's not like tangible results. When you're doing ads, right? You can see X amount being spent, and this is what you're getting right away. Like,
Yep.
especially on a cost per sale acquisition model, right? You can actually
Yep.
have tangible numbers. With SEO, there's a lot more awareness, a lot more time needed. Like every backlink takes time to build and harvest, to then generate a little bit more traction, to then generate some clicks that may generate some leads. But it's long term, right? Like it becomes more of a strategic brand play, as well as like trying to harvest information type queries to different journey type queries, right? And hopefully you have some sort of multi-touch point, multi-journey system in place, right? For when someone's talking, finding your blog that is early stages versus transactional stages, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So a lot of people don't understand that, especially for e-com. I mean, people might just buy a Shopify or site and think they do everything for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. No, this is great because it really kind of blends well with my methodology, the ARM5 formula. Because with my methodology, we're producing content, or the clients that are implementing it with my help, they're producing content, for their brands. And that content is being amplified using ads to acquire a click or a view as cheaply as possible. This way they can really fill up their top of the funnel, and they can retarget and move them down the funnel. SEO is very complementary to that, because if people are implementing the ARM5 formula and they're producing content for that reason, being able to SEO optimize that content, get that content, backlinked from other, brands out there that are recognized in each of those specific industries, that's going to just tenfold the impact that the ARM5 formula can have from a traffic perspective, which is great.
Exactly. And I think a lot of website owners or brands don't put enough emphasis in technical SEO, as well as, keyword research, and a lot of in-depth strategic things can be done prior to actually deployment, or even, coming up with a topic, right?
Yeah.
If you spend more time putting together like a framework or a roadmap on, the steps and process needs to be to implement things properly, you're gonna get way better rewards at the end. Just like SEO, right? Like if you plan it properly, you're gonna get X amount more organic traffic, if versus trying to just put stuff out there when you think it should be out there, right? Like if you plan it properly, you'll get way more amplification, more backlinks, more organic traffic that will generate quality inbound leads for you.
Nice. Yeah, can you unpack that a little bit? Can you tell the audience and myself a little bit more about the technical side of SEO and what you meant by that?
Yeah, definitely. So if you think about, I try to make it very basic for a lot of business owners and listeners on the show, because if you look at how these localized businesses, when I was working at Yellow Pages, all they did was take care of their customers, right? They had a product, they added value, and people were willing to pay for a product service, and it survived. It lasted for generations, typically, or 5, 10, even decades, and they were in business still. What did they do so well? They listened to their customer, they filled a gap in the marketplace, they understood what their value Well, the pricing, they understood the competition. They understood and listened to all the problem the customers had. Very basic stuff. Now you fast forward to today, right? The same thing, but with technology, it's hyper fast, right? It's
Right.
hyper competitive and it's much more robust. But on a local scale, you can compete. When it's becoming more national and there's no borders, you have to find ways to get your message out there. And that's why, retargeting ads and different platforms to hit them in multiple stages. And you don't know when they're ready to buy because they could be searching on their mobile device, then going on a desktop, and then a week later they may remember. So you don't know how long that cookie will last, right? So you want to hit them in many, many times. So retargeting makes sense. But with SEO, it's about just being consistent in terms of the brand, building your authority up, thought leadership. So when people think of an expert, you think about a speaker, you think about an author, you think about someone that's making a huge impact, right?
Yep.
Well, on a business standpoint, or a brand or a business owner, you can do the same thing, right? It's like consistency, understanding what your true value are,
Totally.
keep producing good content. And in terms of all the other technical stuff, because there's 200 signals for SEO, right? From on page to speed, to schema markup, to sitemap, to all the URL structures, you name it, you can do very technical stuff. But ultimately, it's about UX design. If your website's clean, it loads fast, it answers a problem people have.
Yep.
Go through the funnel of what's the problem, why are you here to serve it, you answer it with a solution, and you have social proof or someone that has done some good work with you, and then you push them along to the next stage. It's pretty basic, right? Like SEO is not that complex. People overcomplicate things.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, yeah, it's not complex. You're right, but it is harder to implement. Some of that stuff you talked about. I mean, but there's experts out there that can help. Like you, there's others out there, obviously, but but some of the stuff you're talking about sounds basic, but it's also a lot harder, especially for like the average e-com business owner that really doesn't know a whole lot about all the stuff you just mentioned, like getting your page speed improved and things like that. But I'm glad you pointed out how important that is, because I've mentioned how important that is too in the past in previous episodes, and I also coach my mentees in my accelerator also about stuff like that too. So I'm glad that you're really reverberating things that I've mentioned to businesses in both formats. I'd love if you could maybe just share like a few actionable strategies that the listeners here can implement and take action on to see some gains in their SEO. Are there a few strategies you can share today?
So
Cool.
keyword research is huge, right? So if you think about a brand, but always look at what are the customers, your ideal customers, or people that are purchasing your product currently. What did they seek out? What were the search query? What was their journey looking like? And you can get a lot of that data on Google Analytics. You can use a lot of software to buy pieces of the journey map of what people started with and what do they continually search. But there's also a lot of like paid tools out there for keyword research. Make sure it's consistent. What I mean by that is the main keyword that you're going to focus on, make sure it's in the title tag, description, URL, and H1, H2, and embed it on, keyword density and make it natural, right? Then you look at like, okay, you pool that keyword with any other variations, semantic keywords, keyword variations, because the more, there's not going to be one keyword that encompasses everything in terms of like that product that you're trying to sell. Because people are going to drive that product through a lot of different variations and, just different, not just vocabulary terms and plurals or whatever. Like they're going to come with all these questions, right? How are you encompassing it all in one landing product listing, right? And that's the biggest challenge, because a lot of people want to get everything in one. Well, you can retarget it with different kind of blog pillars content, right? If you look at blog pieces to support the data, it allows for more robust journey. So when you're looking at a product page, maybe support it with different pages as well, embed it. So internal linking is huge. because you want people to stay on your page longer.
Right.
And
True.
if you can do that, you're gonna get them to get closer to the buying intent, actually buying a product or service.
Yeah.
But if you don't, and I would even go multi-channel approach as well. Like, don't just do content. Impress them with images if you have ability to add a video, add audio if possible, because you don't know how your customers are absorbing the content. And of course, the reviews, the schema, markup, all the things that matter. When you're purchasing a product, what are the things you look at? Don't look at yourself. Maybe you're different because you're a business owner. Look at your 10 best clients and how do they purchase your products?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Talk to them.
Love it. Do the research.
Once you determine, because those are the recurring type of clients, the ones that are loyal, that will buy every single thing that you have coming out brand new, right?
Yep.
What triggered them? What made them? Is it the trust of brand, or was there different keywords in search that triggered them? Uncover what their desires and needs are. And once you kind of figure out, like, okay, if you're going to keep creating new SKUs, right, product lines, as an e-com, it's like, listen to your customers, ask them, probe them. Don't just come up because you think it's new and trending.
Right.
Ask the customers that are your existing base, because they've already bought stuff from you.
Yeah, this is wisdom right here, guys. Like, what he's talking about is so important. You need to definitely have these conversations with your customers. That's how you can learn how to market to your ideal prospect. Whether it's SEO, whether it's advertising, whether it's your funnel or your sales pages on your website, what he's talking about is so wise. So definitely take action on that. This has been great, man. I appreciate it. Well, we're going to transition into the end of the interview, and this is just a fun way to kind of wrap this up. It's a bonus round that we do here on the show, and I'm going to ask you 4 questions, and with each of these questions, you want to answer them with only one word.
Okay.
What caused your biggest e-com success to date?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you're good. You're good. What caused your biggest e-com success to date?
What caused it? Just helping.
One
cause
word.
is
One word.
helping.
Helping. Okay, perfect. That works. What advice do you have for other e-com business owners?
Listen.
Ooh, yep, perfect. How would you describe yourself?
Giving.
And what do you see in your future?
Just happiness.
That's awesome, man. Well, cool. It's been great having you on the show. I love your energy. It's infectious. How can the audience find out more about yourself? How can they hire your company for SEO help? Where can someone go to do that?
Yeah, you can check out my website. It's localseosearch.ca. So we're here in Canada. We also own .com. So all around US and UK and Australia as well.
Okay.
And we also have a podcast, just like yourself, but it's called Local SEO Today, where me and my VP work with thousands of business owners and just sharing a lot of insight in terms of successes, failures, and tips.
Nice. Okay, great.
SEO Today.
Got it. Local SEO Today. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, John has been amazing. His energy is infectious. He's very knowledgeable when it comes to SEO, as you can tell from his tone and all the value he gave you today, that he's just a very giving person. So definitely, follow his work. Go to localseosearch.com or .ca. And also check out, what was the name of the blog? Local SEO
Today is the podcast.
Today, that's it. Okay, Local SEO Today. Check out his show, Local SEO Today. This way you can get better and better and better at SEO in your e-commerce business from one of the industry's experts here. Oh, I'm sorry, and John. I don't know why I said weird. Anyway, I apologize, John. It's been one of those Mondays, I guess. I've just got a lot on my plate today. Well, thank you so much, John, for being on the show, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks a lot, John.
Thank you for tuning into the e-commerce performance marketing show. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment with a timestamp of your favorite part and share it with a friend. Until our next episode, here's to you and the success of your e-commerce business.